Hello everyone, welcome to my update US gossip channel. Drew is asked by Willow to tell the police that Michael shot him, and Nina has the option to save herself and possibly her daughter. Nathan inquires about Nina's charges before meeting Dante at Bobby's. Dante claims that the only thing he can tell him is that Willow is the primary suspect and that Nina's claim that she was with Willow on that night is false. Nathan thinks that Nina has a weak case because it's clear that she was just trying to protect her daughter. Off camera, Nathan inquires if Dante believes Willow was involved. Dante honestly has no idea. Martin should be listened to by Willow. Willow informs Martin in the PCPD interrogation room that they must demonstrate that she was manipulated. He explains that they need to concentrate on getting her bail because this is just an arraignment. She wants to see Drew and inquires about his whereabouts. On crutches, Drew enters the squad room and demands to see Willow from Chase. Drew is forced to maintain his distance because Chase claims he cannot because she is the accused and he is the victim. Drew tells Chase that Anna can complain to his office and that he will see her. When Drew enters the interrogation room, Willow leaps into his arms and insists that she did not shoot him. Drew claims to be aware. Martin inquires whether Willow is reiterating her claim that she was with her mother. Willow acknowledges that she has no excuse. Nina told Anna out loud that she was out for a walk. Nina, she thought, needed the justification more than she did. Martin asserts that she will need to discuss this with her defense attorney. Because he already represents Drew, he is only here to get her through the arraignment, creating a significant conflict of interest. Additionally, she requires the best possible criminal defense attorney. Drew yells that they don't need Martin, so if he doesn't help Willow get out, Martin won't. Martin says he'll see them at the arraignment because they both need him. He flees violently. Willow tells Drew by herself that Michael has not only set her up to be arrested in front of her children, but he is also framing her for shooting Drew, which implies that Michael is the shooter. What is Michael's ultimate goal? Brooklyn tells Michael in the Quartermain kitchen about her plans for a tea party to make Ronnie fall in love with the house and some of its inhabitants so that she doesn't try to sell it to them. Brooklyn despises the fact that Willow was arrested in front of the children when their conversation turns to it. When Michael set up these supervised visits, he didn't want that to happen, but in the end, it worked out for him because Willow will never again see the kids without supervision. Brooklyn has feelings for Willow and notes that she is a good mother and that her children love her. Michael bluntly states that he is more concerned about protecting his children than saving Willow from herself. He hopes that Willow will be released from prison and out of their lives by the time the custody hearing takes place. Michael is attempting to do what is best for his children, Brooklyn is aware. He is, which also means that he must keep his children away from Drew. The doorbell goes off. Brooklyn goes to the door to greet her first tea party guests. Marco and Nathan urge Nina to give Willow a chance and drop her alibi in Justine's office. Nina is asked if she has made a decision when Justine returns. Drew is informed by Willow at the PCPD that they must remove the children from Michael, who poses a danger. She claims that he promised to report Michael's shooting to the police. Would he be willing to do so for her and her children? Dante shows up in the kitchen of the Q. He spots Michael seated there, places his badge on the counter, and declares that he is not a police officer. Michael is instructed by Dante, Michael's brother, to persuade him that he did not frame Willow. At Bobby's, Nathan sat across from Dante, his brow furrowed with a mixture of concern and disbelief as he stirred his coffee, though he hadn't taken a single sip. The faint hum of conversation and clinking silverware filled the diner, but all Nathan could focus on was the looming cloud surrounding Nina Reeves. "You're telling me," Nathan said slowly, voice tight with frustration, "that my mother's alibi for Willow, her own daughter, was a lie?" Dante sighed, running a hand through his hair as he leaned back in the booth. "All I can tell you, Nate, is that Nina's story didn't check out. The timeline's wrong, the camera footage from the Metro court doesn't back her up, and now, Willow's the primary suspect." Nathan's jaw dropped slightly. "Primary suspect? For shooting Drew?" Dante nodded grimly. "She's the one who was seen near the scene that night. And she doesn't have an alibi anymore. Nathan clenched his fists, shaking his head. That's insane. The case against Nina is flimsy, and if Willow's being accused, then this entire thing's a setup. You know Nina, she'd lie to protect her daughter, not to hurt her. Dante met his eyes, reluctant but honest. Off the record, Nate, I don't know who did it. All I know is that Drew's recovering, Willow's in custody, and everyone in that family is falling apart. At the PCPD, Willow Tate Corinthos sat in the stark, gray interrogation room, her hands trembling as she twisted them in her lap. Her eyes were red from crying, her soul exhausted from fighting. Martin Gray sat across from her, legal pad open, expression weary but professional. Willow, he said, his southern drawl softening his words, we need to focus on one thing right now, getting you bail. This isn't about proving you were set up. That comes later. But Willow shook her head fiercely, her blonde hair falling around her face. No, Martin. Someone framed me. I didn't shoot Drew. You have to believe me. He sighed. I do, sweetheart, but that's not how this works. Right now, the goal is to get you out of here and back to your kids. Her eyes filled with tears at the mention of Wiley and Amelia. Where's Drew? She whispered. I need to see him. Please. Out in the squad room, Drew Kane swung his crutch down hard against the tiled floor, his face etched in pain and fury. Chase, he barked, his voice echoing off the walls. I'm not asking, I'm telling you. Let me see Willow. Detective Harrison Chase, ever the professional, held up his hand. Drew, you can't. She's the accused, you're the victim. You know the rules. Drew's grip on his crutch tightened. To hell with the rules. She didn't shoot me. I'll see her, or Anna Devane can complain directly to my office about obstruction. Chase stared him down for a moment, then exhaled sharply, muttering something under his breath. You've got 5 minutes. The door opened, and Drew limped into the interrogation room. Willow looked up, her breath catching as she leapt to her feet and threw herself into his arms. It wasn't me, she cried, sobbing into his chest. I swear, Drew, I didn't do it. Drew winced slightly from the pain in his leg but held her tight. I know, he murmured into her hair. I know, Willow. I believe you. Martin cleared his throat, awkwardly standing beside them. All right, you two, let's get some facts straight before this turns into a Lifetime movie. He set down his pen and glanced at Willow. You're standing by your alibi, that you were with your mom? Willow's expression fell. I don't have an alibi, she confessed softly. I went for a walk to clear my head. Nina, she told Anna that I was with her, but it wasn't true. She was just trying to help me. Martin nodded grimly. So she made it worse. Drew turned to Martin, anger flaring in his eyes. You're supposed to defend her. Martin crossed his arms. Not possible. I already represent you, Drew. That's a conflict of interest the size of the Corinthos coffee empire. She needs a criminal defense attorney, and she needs one now. Drew's voice rose. If you won't help her get out, then we don't need you. Martin smirked faintly. Actually, you both need me. I'll see you in court. He stormed out, leaving Drew and Willow alone once more. When the door shut, Willow's tears subsided into trembling breaths. Drew, she whispered, Michael did this. Drew blinked in shock. What? Michael, she repeated, her voice breaking. He set me up to be arrested in front of my kids. He's framing me for your shooting. He has to be the one who shot you. Drew stared at her, his mind spinning. Willow, that's a serious accusation. I know what I'm saying, she cried. He wanted me out of the way. He wants custody of Wiley and Amelia. He told me that if I didn't stop fighting him, he'd make sure I never saw them again. Now I'm sitting here in handcuffs, and he's already halfway there. Meanwhile, at the Quartermain mansion, Michael Corinthos stood in the kitchen, his sleeves rolled up, a picture-perfect image of the reformed family man, except his eyes told a different story. Brooklyn Quartermain stood at the counter, nervously pouring tea into china cups. "So," she said hesitantly, "you really think this tea party thing will help Ronnie fall in love with the house?" Michael shrugged, his tone distracted. "If she decides not to sell it out from under us, then it's worth a shot." Brooklyn studied him carefully. "You know, it's hard to focus on tea parties when your sister-in-law just got arrested for attempted murder." Michael's jaw tightened. "I didn't want that to happen in front of the kids." Brooklyn sighed. "But it did. And now those kids are terrified. Wiley keeps asking where his mom is." Michael turned to her, his face cold and controlled. "Brooklyn, I'm protecting my kids. Willow's unstable. She's been lying for months, keeping secrets, defending Nina. She's not the same person she was." Brooklyn crossed her arms. "You mean she stopped letting you control her?" Michael ignored the jab. "By the time the custody hearing comes around, Willow will be exactly where she belongs, far away from my children and facing life behind bars." Brooklyn stared at him, horrified. "Michael, do you hear yourself? You sound just like Sonny at his worst. Willow's a good mother. Those kids love her." "I'm doing what's best for them," Michael snapped. "That means keeping them away from chaos. From Drew. From Nina. From all of it." The doorbell rang, breaking the tension. Brooklyn smoothed her dress and forced a smile. "That must be my first tea party guest." She left the room, leaving Michael alone with his thoughts, and his guilt. At Justine's law office across town, Nina Reeves sat in the sleek leather chair, her hands clasped tightly in her lap as Marco and Nathan stood nearby. Marco, her new legal counsel, paced impatiently. "Nina, you have to decide. If you stick to this alibi, you're going down with Willow. If you drop it, you save yourself, and maybe her too." Nathan knelt beside his mother, taking her hand. "Mom, listen to me. You tried to protect Willow, but it's backfiring. You can still help her if you tell the truth now." Nina's eyes shimmered with tears. "If I admit I lied, I destroy any chance Willow has of trusting me again. If you don't," Nathan countered, "you destroy both of you." Justine, returning with a file in hand, looked at Nina firmly. "So, Mrs. Reeves Corinthos, what's it going to be? Save yourself, or save your daughter?" Nina's gaze fell to the floor, her heart aching. "I just want to save her," she whispered, voice breaking. Back at the PCPD, Willow sat across from Drew, desperation taking over. "He told me, Drew," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "Michael said if I ever tried to take the kids or expose him, he'd make sure the cops thought I shot you. You were there, you saw how angry he was that night." Drew's expression darkened, memories flashing in his mind, Michael's sharp words, his rage when Drew sided with Willow during their last